Wanderers forever. I'll get you. I'll get you all.
Death warmed up.
Hey there everybody. In this sort of countdown to Halloween season, I just wanted to talk about one of my favourite horror films, and I mentioned it briefly before, and it's the 1984 film Death Warmed Up. It's a New Zealand horror, new wave horror classic, and it's a real fun film. I believe it was New Zealand's first ever horror film. The general consensus from most people is Bad Taste from 1987 from Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame, that he was the first person to make a horror film from New Zealand, but in actual fact it was Death Warmed Up, and in many ways it inspired Peter Jackson to make Bad Taste. It stars Michael Hurst in the main role. Michael Hurst is a prominent sort of TV actor, and he was known for his roles in Hercules, The Incredible Journeys, and some Hercules TV movies. He's actually English born, but in this New Zealand film, and also stars Gary Day as Dr. Archer Howell. And it tells the story, basically it's like a mad scientist sort of sci-fi horror zombie film. It basically tells the story of a mad scientist, and in the mad scientist in this case is Gary Day, and the character that Michael Hurst plays, his father works with Dr. Howell, and they have a disagreement, and they're working on some kind of weird mutation experiment on human beings to sort of make them immortal. We don't really find out what the inspiration or the why he's doing this. Why is he actually doing this? But just take it for what it is. They're creating sort of mutant killer zombies, basically, where they've been testing on rats and stuff. Another thing, of all the sort of crazy, outrageous characters in this movie, it is a crazy film, but it's brilliant. One of my favourite villains in movies is Spider in this film, in Death Warmed Up, played by David Letch. I thought he was great as Spider, and a creepy bad guy, but brilliant all the same. And I'm not quite sure who Spider is. Is he the leader of all these mutants or what? But I think he may well be one of Dr. Howell's more successful experiments, I think, because he's pretty zombified. Michael Hurst, who plays the character Michael, he gets injected and hypnotised almost into actually murdering his parents by the doctor. It's funny later on in the film when Michael and Dr. Howell come together, and remember Dr. Howell's hypnotised them and somehow made him murder his parents. He says later on in the film, "Trust me, Michael. Trust me." Oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking trust you. He ends up going into a mental institution for a number of years, and then gets out when he's a little bit older, and then we see them on this sort of weekend sort of road trip, and they're travelling back to the sort of island where he murdered his parents, where he used to live, and where the hospital is, where this Dr. Howell is. And what's supposed to be a sort of camping trip or fun holiday, little mini holiday with his friends, he's actually seeking revenge on Dr. Howell, and it's basically just telling the story of that. There's lots of crazy characters, it's all over the place and really out there, and it's a bit mad, but you know what, it's great fun, and it is, I think it's genuinely scary, but it's really fast paced, and it's worth a watch, and it's pretty gory in parts as well. I think there's quite a lot of homoerotic undertones in the film as well, which people would know what I mean if they watch it, and most definitely. I don't know if these kind of films in the 80s, horror films, were intended, or just little hints there and there, but there's definitely some scenes in there that are homoerotic, and you'll know what I mean if you ever watch the film. It's one of these films that always almost leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I feel uncomfortable watching it at times. Especially watching it late at night or the early hours in the morning in the dark yourself. It's one of these films, I think I watched it when I was about 10-year-old for the first time, but it's always given me this uncomfortable feeling, and you know what, watching a horror film, I think that's a good thing. That's a great thing, that a horror film can make you uncomfortable or make you feel ill at ease, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Death Warmed Up, I think it's also called Death Warmed Over in some parts, but it's worth a watch. I'd love this. This isn't the greatest transfer, this DVD, but it's as good as you're going to get out there, and it's as good as what the old VHSs were. But I think this is like a sort of cult New Zealand classic, and it deserves a proper, real special edition Blu-ray release of some kind. I don't know if there's anything in New Zealand or Australia with this, but I'd love to find out. I'm always constantly checking every so often on the internet if there's something that turns up, but I was delighted to get this a few years ago. As I said, I'd really love a special edition of this movie, and it would be my dream for it to be released on Blu-ray with a really beautiful transfer and some nice special features or interviews and any behind the scenes or deleted scenes or anything. But apparently and sadly, the original negative was burnt, and the original copy of the film is long gone. But there is a small little tiny hope that there's a 35mm internegative print somewhere available in the USA, according to director David Blyth. So if anyone out there comes across it in an old studio or in the archives or a drawer or a cupboard somewhere, the original internegative of Death Warmed Up, Death Warmed Over, whatever it's called where you are, please find it. I know it's possible. Unbelievably, this great film is not really celebrated that much in New Zealand. It might have a small cult following, but it wasn't a success in New Zealand whatsoever, and the biggest success came from its huge cult following here in the UK and around Europe. And I think this film deserves a new audience and to be rediscovered again, and I hope I can help by sharing the word by video blogs like this. The story of how I first came across Death Warmed Up. As a kid, I used to love going into all these old video VHS stores, and I used to love looking at all the films, and was always attracted to the great artwork of some of the old horror, exploitation, sort of more adult films, especially with some of these crazy sort of 80s artwork and stuff, and I was always really attracted to them. Obviously, I was always too young to hire out stuff, and used to just love looking at them, and used to look at the back, used to look at the artwork and read the synopsis and stuff. I just loved it. And I remember it was the first time I lived in Dundee. It was on an old VHS store on Cleppington Road, and I seen this cover of Death Warmed Up, and I just loved the look of it. I'm like, what is this? What is this crazy film? And I was always attracted to it. And not so long after that, I was around my cousin's house in Carnoustie, Jennifer, and she had a copy of it that she had bought it was bought second hand from one of the shops, and I was like, wow. And then I goes, oh, is it any good? And she says, oh, and her words was just, oh, it's a bit gory, but it's alright. I'm like, okay. So I borrowed it, and then that was the first time I watched it. I didn't get my own copy of it until maybe the late 90s, late 90s sometime, and I had my own copy of it, and it sadly got thrown out, like a lot of my VHSs. Not down to me, but it was thrown out, sadly, and then I finally got this copy on DVD here, and it's just stuck with me ever since. It's just one of these films that catches you at the right time or the right moment, and you just love it forever. It doesn't matter how bad other people think a film is, or if it doesn't mean something to them. I mean, if we all liked the same movies, it would be boring, wouldn't it? And yeah, Death Warmed Up from 1984. Check it out if you can. I think there used to be a copy of the film on YouTube, but I'm not sure if it's there anymore. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and we'll speak soon, okay? Bye now. Nothing can stop me now. Nothing!